Player 2 has entered the podcast.
Welcome back, people, to Player 2 has entered the podcast. I am your co-host, Michael Peterson, a.k.a. MC Paperstacks, and with me, as always, is my co-host with the co-most,
Derrick Murkison, a.k.a. Full Metal Merc.
What's up with you, Derrick?
It's another week of thrifting and posting and joasting. I don't know what that is.
With the most.
But I was doing it. Joasting with the most.
That's when you hang out with Colin Jost but you
right.
do whatever he
right.
wants to do, and you don't really add in any input or try to sway him to do anything you want to do. You just completely give it up to him as far as the itinerary. Joasting.
Mm-hmm.
Just joasting.
Goddamn.
Or maybe joasting is like when you fuck with somebody, but you do it while you're doing a Colin Jost impersonation.
There you go. You just got joasted.
You just got joasted. And other news this week, it turns out that my friend ordered a Big Mac, but he couldn't eat the whole thing because he's a fucking asshole. Back to you, Che. Cool. Well, this week we got a lot to talk about, and I'm excited to really get into it. Speaking of which, just kind of catch up with you this week, Derrick. We haven't talked a whole lot during the week. What's going on with you, man? Anything new?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just got a few pickups and trying to get my rest on. You know what I mean?
Okay. I hear you with that.
But I actually bought some toys off of this woman that has flea market booth, and it had a bunch of like 90s mask figures, like Jim Carrey.
Mm-hmm.
And, somebody stop me.
Smoking. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, smoking, baby. Yeah. Those are really dope. I'm going to get those looked up and posted. And I also picked up PlayStation VR this morning off of Facebook Marketplace. And I go to the guy's apartment, and I'm very upset because I walk in and I see a PS5 just sitting on the entertainment center.
Just chilling.
And I'm like, but he said he had to literally go to a Best Buy that was like 3 hours away.
To get it? Wow.
To get it, yeah. So I'm like, well, you're better than me because I wasn't about to do all that.
As the weeks and months go by, it just further solidifies and makes me feel good about the fact that I decided to respond to PlayStation's email.
Mm-hmm.
People scoffed at it. A lot of people I follow and listen to are like, can you believe they're actually setting aside pre-orders for the pre-order? Yeah. And they sneered at it, but I was like, it's not much investment. I mean, I think it's stupid. I agree. But they're promising to set aside to review my account, or I don't know what the hell they did. They probably just went, who has achievements or trophies or whatever, who's been playing a while, or who's a subscriber. I don't know what metric they use, but whatever it was, I got scooped into it. So, yay. That's a win.
Yeah. Really
take
dope.
it. All right, well, cool. So, PlayStation VR. Have we talked much about VR on the show before?
I don't think so.
What are your thoughts on the VR? Like, would you ever try... I mean, I know you have to test it at least to make sure it's working and everything, but, like, would you ever consider doing the VR? Are you into the VR?
I did.
Are you a VR fan?
Yeah, I did buy one for myself at one point in time.
Uh-huh.
And it just wasn't that interesting to me.
Yeah, I know you did a little. You and your wife did a little while you were visiting me because I got my PlayStation VR set up.
Yeah, you got to play. I got Resident Evil 7,
the kitchen demo.
Nope.
Yeah. He said nope.
Nope.
I loved you were playing Gran Turismo for a while, saying this is VR, and I looked in the headset. I was like, no, it isn't.
No.
The screen was just up in your face, and I this is VR, and you were like, oh.
Oh, this is VR.
Oh, you're in the car. Now I get it.
This is very real.
Yeah. A little bit too real. Don't take that turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still haven't really gotten my my VR legs, kind of like the sea legs. I feel like I have to take some anti-motion sickness pills or whatever before I play VR because I can only do it for a couple hours. I can tell when it's on set because I'll start to kind of like cold sweat a little bit, where I'm like, just feel just a tinge of quease. And if I don't quit soon after or even slightly before sometimes, I'll be sick for days. It fucks with me. Yeah, and it sucks because VR is actually really cool. I hope to try to go back into it and train myself. I hear you can if you just kind of get your brain used to it. It's just, I don't know how much suffering I have to do to actually get any use out of it. I did.
Right.
PlayStation was offering potential PS5 owners. They were offering to give a free upgrade to allow PSVR to work with PlayStation 5. Because apparently, default, it does not. You have to get like a camera attachment. It could be while this guy was selling his VR, he might have missed out. But I went ahead and was like, yes, please on that too. Like I actually look at my emails and I respond to them, my junk emails.
Right. He actually listed that in the email too. He said you could also use it with with PS5 if you get the free attachment from Sony.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but he didn't have the pre-attachment.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. I don't know if it's still free, but for those out there who have PlayStation VR, for the Venn diagram folks who listen to us, have not already done it, plan to get a PlayStation 5, have a PlayStation VR, maybe just maybe if you thread that needle and they're still offering it, contact them and get your free camera attachment. Just saying.
Oh yeah. And this had the headset, 2 moving controllers, the processing unit, and the camera. So it's the whole package.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Very
Sounds
nice.
like it. Plus all the
Yeah.
cords. Oh my God. That's the other thing that sucks about it is all the setup you have to do. It's a little ridiculous. I
Yeah.
think we're going to see true VR adoption when 2 things happen. One, the price just needs to go down. The amount you have to pay is essentially another console. And 2, the setup or storage needs to be better. There needs to be less wires, less bullshit. You know what I mean? Because there's too much you have to do. Like the wires I have even all have numbers on them, so you know like which goes to which
Right.
because it's so confusing. And for someone who's been hooking up consoles to TVs his whole life, for me to be like, oh, this is a little rough. Let me pull out them instructions again. I mean, that's how complicated it gets. So, and you got wires all over your damn room. So,
Same here.
Cool. Well, happy to hear about the pickups. Look forward to seeing those posted up. They call me Cuban Pete. I'm the crazy man in the street. When I shake my maracas, they go chick chicky boom, chick chicky boom.
Chick, chicky, boom, chick, chicky,
He's a really modest guy, although he's the hottest guy in Havana. I could probably sing that whole song. I used to love The Mask when
I'm
I was
sure.
a kid. That scene
course.
where Cameron Diaz, I think that was her first movie. That scene where she comes in the bank wearing that red dress for the first time, that turned me into a man. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I want more of this, please. She was beautiful in that movie. And I love the swerve, too, because she was introduced as, like, the hot, unattainable girl. You know what I mean? And
Right.
usually in movies, when you introduce the nerdy, kind of down-to-earth girl who was played by Yasmin Bleeth, people might know her as the Maid Marian in Robin Hood Men in Tights. But usually when you juxtapose those two together, the hot one is vapid and ends up not being, like, the true object or somebody you should go after, and the down-to-earth girl is the one that you end up with. But in this one, they subverted it. Like, no, the hot girl's actually really nice. And she's in a bad situation. And Yasmin Bleeth, the nerdy girl who's down to earth, sells you out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, the swerve. Okay.
Watch out for those nerdy girls.
Yeah, they'll get you. Apparently. At least in The Mask. So, but yeah, that I don't know how it holds up now. But, I mean, when I was in middle school, I loved that movie. I thought it was great. I was really into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's peak Jim Carrey, so I'm sure.
Yeah. It actually got him the Riddler role in Batman Forever because originally all people had to go off of was Ace Ventura. And people who were casting for Batman thought, you know, we're going to need somebody that can be serious. And this man's a goofball 100% of the time. But the downplayed kind of everyman parts that he had to do before he got the mask showed he had some range, I guess, that they didn't know that he had. And that's what got him the role. So
Nice.
little interesting trivia there for The Mask for Jim
Yeah.
Carrey for Batman Forever. Anyways, moving on. All right, so this week, a little controversy happened
Every week.
with Disney Plus and The Mandalorian and a certain actor, Gina Carano, who plays, what's her name? Cara Danvers? What's her?
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune. Cara Danvers.
Yeah.
It's like a
Gina
mix between that name.
Thickrano.
A mix
Gina
between that
Thickrano.
name and like Captain Marvel. But yeah, Gina
Yeah.
Carano, who plays Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, was finally fired. I say finally because I feel like she was given a lot of chances.
Yeah.
She's the type of Trump supporter, which being a Trump supporter on its own feels kind of sus. It's like, do you have any deductive reasoning skills?
Right.
I try not to go in on Trump supporters in the beginning of his term, but after all that's transpired, it's like, still? Word? Do you
Right.
just not watch the news? Or have eyes? But aside from that, she's also like, the pandemic is a hoax, anti-mask, anti-vaccination, all these conspiracy theories. She supported the voter suppression, but also thinks that the voting was a fraud because it was made available to more people, like a bunch of stuff.
Right.
But the thing that finally got her ousted was a comment where she compared her suffering as someone who's attacked for her political views to people in Nazi Germany who were rounded up and killed.
Yeah.
And that was a bridge too far for many, and finally got her canned. And I've seen people online arguing for and against this, but let me ask you, what's your opinion on it?
Honestly, like Disney, your employer can do whatever. People, this is the main argument I see. Oh, what about freedom of speech? Oh,
I see that a lot too.
Freedom of speech has to do with the government silencing you, not your employer. And freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences. So if you say some dumb shit, be prepared to face the consequences, you know?
Yeah. It's funny how how people confuse their right. Like the people are always like, my rights, don't even know what their rights are. Right. It's like, yeah, the government didn't throw her in jail for her speech, so we're good on the First Amendment, guys. Right. And they're calling double standards. I've seen people calling out how they rehired James Gunn. Here's the difference to me between Gina Carano and James Gunn. James Gunn, for people who don't know, is the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy series, and he got in trouble for some tweets that were dug up by a conservative that he had made 10 years ago. And in bad faith, the conservatives like, look at this guy. He's talking about pedophilia and rape and things like that, and he's making jokes about it, right? He came from Trauma Film, which is like shock humor. It's the stuff that you saw back in the day, like Toxic Avenger and Trauma High and all that, like all that ridiculous stuff, and Lloyd Kaufman. And he has since apologized for that crude humor, understanding and growing as a person, like understanding like why that's bad and why it's harmful to engage in that kind of rhetoric and why it can hurt people. Gina Carano has not had any growth since these comments. She did delete the tweet in question, by the way, which I think is kind of interesting, even though she's talking about how she censored herself, apparently. But she's left off a lot of other questionable tweets that I was looking at recently, kind of researching her account. But she has not apologized. It was very recent. She's actually been given a chance to stop and been told why it's bad and just has been powering through. So this situation is not comparable. Now, you can talk about how white people in Hollywood have been given umpteen chances and blah, 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 and we can go over that with a fine-tooth comb. I'm going to stop whatabouting the situation and just focus on Gina. And like you said, it's a private company. They can do what the fuck they want. They didn't think that what she was saying publicly was a good look for the Mandalorian and their public image, and considering Disney's shady past, I totally get it. They want to distance themselves from the bullshit that they engaged in a long time ago. So they let her go. And I've seen a lot of conservatives celebrate, like, well, Gina's already got a job. So she got a job with fucking Ben Shapiro and his publication company. It's like, yeah, I'm sure she's making that Disney money there. Right. Awesome. Good for her, I guess. But even if she got a regular job, she's an actor in Hollywood, okay. That means another company is okay or doesn't really care about her image, like, versus how it reflects on them. And that's fine. Again, that's their decision. That doesn't somehow not justify what Disney does or prove that Disney was wrong. Disney can do whatever the fuck they want, clearly, in regards, and like any other company can. One of the reasons, I don't feel like I say particularly controversial shit, but one of the reasons why I don't out and out just say which company I work for is because I don't want them to hear some shit I say and take issue with it and fire me,
Right.
And they're a private company and they can totally do it and not think twice about it. So I don't no social media, nowhere do I say who I work for. Occasionally I might be like, my company is hiring on like a friend quote or something like that, but you'd have to dig really hard to find out where I work for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even think I know exactly where you work.
yeah, and that's by design. That's again, I'm not saying a bunch of inflammatory, controversial shit that has literally proven to get people killed. But especially if I was doing that, I'd be like, I'm going to know where I work at. So that's the mantle you take on when you're a public figure and you have that kind of sway. And she couldn't help herself.
And here's another thing, and we don't have to get too deep into it, but notice as soon as you start talking about Jewish people, that's the last straw for everybody.
Well, there's a lot of
I know.
There's a lot of Jewish people that work in Hollywood, and I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna engage in any conspiracy theories about that. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Right.
But the thing is, representation matters, and this is one of the reasons. If you have people in a thing that are sensitive to and or affiliated with a particular group, and you attack that group, what the fuck do you think's going to happen?
Right.
You know?
That
And
happened to Nick Cannon.
yeah, and that is an attack. When you delegitimize what happened to people, like that was the Holocaust is one of the greatest atrocities of mankind ever. And people like to throw it around like it's comparable to anything, and it really isn't. You know what I mean? So I'm reticent to compare people I'm against to Hitler sometimes. You know, I'll do it for shorthand when I'm around friends, but I'm not going to make a public statement and go, so and so is Hitler, just like Nazi. You know what I mean? Like that's calm down with that. Obviously, you're going to get in trouble. So, well, let's move on to a happier topic.
Yeah.
I think we talked Gina Carano to death.
Or maybe happier.
Maybe happier. I don't know.
Right.
But we'll find out. So we've been covering pretty much. I mean, we skipped a couple, but episode by episode, we've been discussing WandaVision every week, and WandaVision had episode 6. This most recent episode, it was really decent. I was into it. What you think? What are your?
It's so good.
So good.
Like everybody that was talking shit about it in the beginning, I was like, just wait for it. Just wait for it. They gave us 2 episodes at first because they know that those first 2 episodes are gonna be. People were going to be like, I don't know.
I still liked it too. Like
I still liked it.
I was into it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole Malcolm in the Middle aesthetic. I was like, this is great. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, they did a really good job with the Malcolm in the Middle comparison when they took on that style of late 90s, early aughts type show. I mean, they even had the camera work. Like you had the zoom and the lenses and the kids talking first person. That little kid that plays Wiccan, the one that he's not the fast one, but the one that has kind of like the powers that are closer to his mom's. He did a really good kind of Frankie Muniz impression. I feel like he was looking at the camera and just had the mannerisms down and everything of Malcolm in the Middle. It was great.
It's like Mom and Dad, they aren't fighting. They're just different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're just different. I don't know. And I love that they were playing PlayStation 1. I was like, that's appropriate for the time.
Oh, they were? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they all had gray PlayStation controllers when the kids and Uncle Quicksilver were playing PlayStation. We can kind of go through the episode here. There's some things I want to point out that I might jump to later on that happened in the beginning of the episode, but the intro was great. I loved it. And I thought it was interesting. It was a Halloween episode, so everybody was dressing up in costumes. And most everybody in the town were doing like royalty-free type costumes, like Frankenstein, skeletons, witches, ghosts. Yeah. But of course, the superpowered family were wearing costumes inspired by their actual comic book counterparts, which I thought was cool. Yeah, and Vision had something to say about that. He came downstairs and he was a little snarky. He was like, well, it's not like I could have dressed in anything else because you removed all my other clothes. Did you catch that little jab?
No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, she had a little side look like, what the fuck did you just say? And he just moved on really quickly. So, and then he had another jab where he was like, well, I made plans today. And she's like, but that's not right. He's like, and I'm going to go out and do this instead. She goes, okay. Now,
he's
clearly.
Like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Right? What am I? Yeah, he basically called her on it. Like, is there a script, honey? She's like, well, I'm not going to say that. Right. So instead of hanging out with the kids and doing the first Halloween, he said he's going to go out and do Halloween patrol. And her brother steps in and is like, hey, man, you need a father figure for the night? You need a chaperone? I'll be that guy.
I'm Francis.
He did a really great job in this episode, too, by the way. Yeah. Pietro was awesome. And so him and the kids are going around pranking people and having a good time. And there were moments where Pietro was kind of acting like he knew what was up. I mean, even from the first point that he showed up, you know what I mean? But in this episode especially, it's like he knows the score completely, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, does he? And does anyone involved? Yeah. It literally just, I have theories, and then I watch the next episode, and then it completely wipes them away. I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, because she finds out that Vision's not doing what he says he's doing, and the other guy, I can't remember his name, but there's 2 people. There's Agnes and this guy. He was dressed as Frankenstein in this episode, but he was the one cutting the hedges down into like the fence, the brick. They both seem to kind of be self-aware a little bit, and they're like, we don't talk about it. While everybody else, like, you have to snap them out of their days.
Right.
And he was like, do you want me to change something or fix something for you, Wanda? And she's like, no, I'm good. So I think that's interesting, but you find out that Vision's like going to the outskirts of town and seeing that the world is literally breaking down. Like all of the people are like doing the same action back and forth. Like a woman's trying to pin clothes on a clothesline, and she keeps reaching up to it, but then coming back down and then reaching up to it. And then further out, they just stopped completely. They're not even moving. And so that little joke that Wanda made in the last episode was like, what do you think? I'm walking everybody's dogs, mowing their grass, taking them to the dentist appointments. It's like, in the immediate radius, maybe, but as it goes further out, you don't really have the power to do that, apparently.
Right.
And at one point in the episode, of course, they shoot to outside of the hexagon, and Rambo and Dr. Darcy and Agent... Is it
John
Agent
Rambo? Yeah. A Monica Rambo.
Monica Rambo. Not spelled that way, though, and not that one.
Right.
But yeah, they're arguing with the director of Sword because of the bullshit he pulled in the last episode. And he kind of pulls a little bit more sarcasm out of them so he can be like, you're all off. Soldiers, take them away.
Yeah, get them out of here.
Get them out of here. And when they get out to the outskirts, they kind of subdue the soldiers and sneak back. And Dr. Darcy's doing her hacking stuff. And she's like, the director's got these firewalls up. And I think he's up to something. And he's only tracking Vision, right?
And I think he's Mephisto. No.
He must be Mephisto. No. But she's like, he's only tracking Vision. And Rambo's like, well, we got to get back in there. And she's like, you can't. Your blood's getting all fucked up. You kept going in and out. And he's done your blood work. Your cells are breaking down. They're reconstituting. And she's like, I've had enough cell talk for a lifetime. I think she's probably referencing her mom.
That was weird. That was a weird line.
Yeah. You thought so?
It just the way it came off was weird. Like, I understand what they were doing, but it's like, no, she's literally has some shit talking about your cells right now. I understand that you haven't come to terms with your mother's death yet, but you legit have these scans of your cells, and your cells are fucking up.
Well,
whatever.
Here's the way I took it. She's a hero that's trying to go into action to save her friend, and someone said, your life is on the line. She's like, fuck my life.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I took her attitude. And yeah, she did mention something about cells, and she could either be talking about Carol Danvers, right? She could be talking about Captain Marvel and how her cells were altered, right, by the explosion.
Right.
Or she could be talking about her mother and her battling cancer. Whatever it was, she used that line to throw in a personal, you know what, I don't care. But really it was, my life's on the line, but it's always on the line. Who gives a shit? We got to do this. I got to go be a hero. That's the way I kind of took it, you know?
Yeah, she finna get them powers, though.
Yeah, she finna get them powers. Yeah. So we'll look out for that. They're creating a lot of superheroes because the kids are coming in their own too with the powers. Like I said, you got Wiccan, who was wearing his little costume just like in the comics, and then his brother, who is just as fast as Quicksilver. It was good times.
Yeah.
And
now my thing is, I'm trying to figure out if these kids are actually real. Are they going to continue to exist once this is all over? Is it like, oh my God, the show just has so many questions.
Yeah.
And literally no answers yet.
I think it is. I'm starting to kind of put a picture together about the director and Wanda. I feel like maybe Wanda was in on helping them with some sort of project, and the director was doing a project maybe to create superpowered individuals because of the snap and how afraid he is of it. Remember, he had that big speech about, you weren't there for 5 years and what it took to keep the lights on. And they had Vision's body, and she knew exactly where it was. And it looked like they were going to use Vision's body to create maybe something. And she found out. Yeah. She was like, nope. And she took him and kind of fucked off. Right. But again, I think she was approached or seduced by something that is like enabling her to do this. And that could be the connection to the multiverse. But then you have Quicksilver acting extra sus. Like, Quicksilver was like, how are you doing all this? You know?
Yeah, the kids are a nice touch. Where were you hiding them?
Yeah, were they just asleep this whole time? And let's not talk about the moral implications of that. She's like, I don't really know how I'm doing it. And he was really curious. And I thought it was really interesting when she looked at him, and for a slight second, he looked like dead Pietro. And the thing is, he still didn't look like the actor that originally played him in the Marvel movies. He looked like the same actor playing him in Fox, but he looked dead.
Right.
That, to me, tells me that maybe he is not really dead, and neither is Vision. She's just imprinting her trauma onto them. And somehow Vision and Quicksilver have been... Like, Quicksilver, I feel like, was either tugged from a multiverse, or maybe he's a spy, like a Kree, because they can shapeshift, and they have access to a multiverse and are using the version of Quicksilver that they found. I don't know.
Right.
It's so confusing.
Yeah. That's a lot.
And so I'm just still trying to figure out, okay, is it Kree? Is it aliens? Is it Mephisto?
Skrull?
Is
Is
it the
it
multiverse?
Mephisto?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. It's something big, though, definitely. And
Yeah,
then one of the
but
most crazy parts. You want to talk about Agnes?
yeah. So Vision on his way to find the outskirts of the Hex
Uh,
sees Agnes in her car. She's dressed up like a witch, and she's just stopped, and she doesn't know what's going on. And he releases her. He touches her head and releases her mind, and
uh-huh.
she's just like talking all types of nonsense. She's like, "Vision, you're an Avenger. Oh my God, please help us. I don't know what's going on." And then she starts cackling like a witch. And then he's like, "Okay, this bitch." And then he turns her back.
What I
And I'm
thought
like,
was... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
"Is she act?" I'm like, "Is she acting? Is
Mm-hmm.
this for real?" I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know. This show's mystery is they're crafting a really good mystery.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We know that she's aware of what's going on because she's talked about, do you want to do that again? She's talked about the script. She's seen them use their powers from almost jump. And
Right.
she's been kind of around, and we've seen her be self-aware and talk to Vision and other people.
Hmm.
So when he comes up and kind of zaps her head like he did with his friend at work, and she's like, Vision, you're Avenger. Can you help us? And she's like, am I dead? And he's like, why would you say that? She goes, because you're dead. And then
Right.
she starts kind of freaking out and laughing and stuff. I do think that was an act, and I think it was her telling him what he needed to hear to kind
Yeah.
of continue to try to investigate, right? He kind of zaps her back, but I feel like she was kind of hamming that up. And I'm still
Yeah.
suspicious of her. Yeah, Agnes is up to something because she's always acting sus. Even like, do you remember in the beginning of the episode? This is something I want to bring up. In the opening, she's bent over in the fridge, and on her butt it's written naughty,
Yeah.
which obviously is kind of playing to her character, but it's like, she up to something. I don't necessarily know if she's a bad guy anymore. I originally thought she was a bad guy, but now I'm wondering if maybe she's as caught up or as manipulated as Wanda is, but just knows a little bit more about the manipulation, and she's worried that if she rocks the boat too much, she'll get attacked or get Wanda hurt. So she's
Right.
leaking clues to Vision. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. That's what I'm feeling this week.
That's what I'm feeling this
But
week. Huh?
yeah, and then yeah, Vision straight up just breaks out of the hex. Well, he
Yeah.
tries
He
to.
tries to. He walks
And
out of the
it's
hex. Yeah.
literally starts pulling him back in piece by piece.
It tears his ass apart.
Yeah, and I was
And the
just
director
like,
and all of them are out there just
so
watching it like, oh, hey, check that out.
yeah. And then
Which
Darcy's like,
sucked.
"Oh, you gotta help
She
him."
ran up, and then they cuffed her to the front of a car. And I was like, oh,
Right.
guys.
And then Wiccan, which is their son, he happens to hear Vision in his head, like crying
Yeah.
out in pain. He's like, "I think he's dying." And then Pietro says, "What? It's not like your dead husband can die again." And then she just straight up blasts him.
Yeah,
And that's the
she
last we
murks
see
him.
of him this episode.
I know. He got
So I'm like,
annihilated.
I was,
Like, he just,
I was
I think
like,
she
"Ooh."
threw him like 50 feet.
Yeah, and she just stops everything, stops everyone, and then
Hmm.
proceeds to extend the hex. And I was like, "Oh shit!"
Aggressively. Yeah.
Yes. And like everything starts like a helicopter gets caught in it, turns into a hot air balloon. Bunch of the sword agents get turned into clowns, and all of their equipment and stuff gets turned into like a carnival. Which I was like, this is extremely creative, and I really, really like what's going on here.
Yeah.
And
And they're all just running like hell trying to get away from it. I think the director gets away, and then Rambo and Agent Wu gets away. But unfortunately, Dr. Darcy is handcuffed to a car, and they leave
yeah,
her
she said,
behind.
"Oh fudge."
But she didn't say
Oh,
fudge.
good
She said
old,
the other
the
word,
good
the
old
big
fudge.
word.
She did.
She said
Right.
fudge.
Right. I said the other one, the big one.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the only other question there is who is this mysterious engineer that Rambo knows that's
Oh,
going to help her get
yeah.
inside the hex?
Right. She talked about
And
a
I'm like,
person
this
that
is
she
going to be
called.
somebody important.
You think so?
And if it's not, I'm going to be upset because they've foreshadowed it for 2 episodes.
Oh, they have, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a big name.
So
Gonna be a big name.
with her expanding the hex like that, I mean, it was already really difficult for her to control the area that she had. I feel like
Hmm.
it's going to be busting at the seams next episode. Things are going to come flying apart. Vision
Hmm.
already had his experience, and he's going to be like, he's going to have some words with Wanda. Quicksilver, that may come to a head
Right.
pretty soon.
Right.
You know what I mean? Kids' powers are coming up now. Like, we're catching up to the now. Like, what is the next one going to be? Modern Family? Hey.
Right. Well, I saw in spoilers, I guess, I saw an article that said that one of the
Oh, you know
episodes
what?
is going to be
I don't want to know. I haven't
okay.
read about it, so
Okay,
let
good.
me be
Okay.
surprised.
All right.
But yeah,
um,
I'm excited to see it.
yeah, I think by the end of the series, this whole hex thing is going to blow up, and go around worldwide, and then we're gonna get mutants that way. Because if it's changing Monica's cellular structure
Uh-huh.
and giving her powers, then I
Uh-huh.
think it's gonna give a few, well, not a few, but a lot of random people powers throughout the world, and then that's how we're gonna get our mutants, and not
Maybe.
necessarily through a multiverse.
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
think. I mean, I think that's a smart way to
Maybe.
go. It's another worldwide snap type event.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Or at least a large enough hex to get enough people in it to have. Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
Very interesting
We'll
stuff.
see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm excited. I think the
Yeah.
next one's gonna just be popping off. I mean, how many episodes are there this season? 8?
9.
9. So we have 3 left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm excited to see what happens next. I really am. And now I'm a lot more excited for Falcon and Winter
Falcon and
Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited for that.
I was kind of blasé about it
don't
at
know.
first. I was just like, I don't know. These two guys, they were kind of funny in Civil War, riffing off of each other, but how long can that last? But I don't know. With
Right.
everything I've seen with this, I'm just super excited to see what they get into. So,
It's gonna be good.
cool. Well, let's get into what we've been playing this week. So, Derrick, what have you been playing video game wise?
I have been playing some more East 9 Monstrum Nox. Monstrum Nox.
Monstrum
And I am
Nox.
loving every minute of it. I think I might be liking it more than East 8.
Really?
Because here's the thing, and I'm not going to get into spoilers really, but it takes place basically in one city. It's a prison city, and then you end up like having to break into the prison and get people out, blah, blah, blah. But the way that the story progresses, there's like 3 main mysteries that are happening, 2 that the characters are aware of and need to solve, and 1 that only the player is aware of and needs to figure out. Because when this thing first happens, I'm like, the fuck? Wait, what is happening right here? And it's playing it like a kind of mainstream RPG as far as the mystery goes. I'm like, yo, this is really interesting. Like, I need to know what's happening with this. But it's so fun. I'm 17 hours in. When did it come out? The 2nd?
Yeah.
I think it came out I think it came out the 2nd. So I've actually got some pretty good hours in it. I've been purposefully not working past 5, not because I want to play the game, but just because I need to recharge.
I understand.
Relax. So
yeah,
I've
you
been-
gotta have
yeah,
work-life
I've been
balance. It's hard.
Yeah, I've been waking up, doing my work, and when I go to pick up Nora, come home, that's done. Work is done. So I've been having a lot more time to play. I actually took Wednesday off, and I played like 7 hours.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Love
Yeah, it
those.
was amazing. Yeah, so I'm trying to get it beat before Persona 5 Strikers comes out, because the reviews that has been got me really excited. They're like, you might as well throw a 2 in front of it. It's getting 8s and 9s out of 10. And this is something that's not a mainstream, like a really heavy mainstream game. It's a offshoot sequel of sorts. So
Yeah.
it's very exciting to see it getting that type of praise, especially from like IGN and shit. So
Yeah, Persona 5 Strikers looks to be one of the greatest Warriors games that's been made yet, just with its reverence to the source material and the way it's designed. I've even heard you can't really mindlessly go through dungeons. Like, you really do have to pay attention to how your weaknesses of the enemies and the strengths of the enemies. Yeah, all that stuff. Just like you would. There's some traversal in the dungeons. Again, and there's even some social moments. The only thing they really removed is the requirement to like fit in different stuff in your day. Like, they have for aesthetics the whole calendar system, but really things are signposted so you don't have to worry about missing things or have to do multiple playthroughs, which I really appreciate. Not that I don't mind that kind of style of play with Persona, but I'm the type of dude that wants to see everything all at once, so like my first playthrough if I can. And so knowing that I have multiple playthroughs ahead of me, it's just like, it's just always, did I miss something? Did I make the wrong decision? Do I got to reload this save? And I don't have to worry about that with this game. So that's really cool.
that's what YouTube is for, though, as well, though.
True. Does Persona 5 Strikers come out on the 26th or the 28th?
I think it's the 20th or 22nd, honestly.
Oh, I thought it was later than that.
Yeah, I know Bravely Default 2 comes out the 26th, but I actually went to Disc Replay to get it pre-ordered, and the pre-order was up, but they like me so much that they were like, we'll still go ahead and order it for you.
It's the 20th.
Yes. Okay, yeah, so 5 days. So I have 5 days to beat. I have 5 days to beat East. I think I can do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I hear it's about 30 plus hours, so
And
I'm
don't sell
halfway
yourself
there.
short. You have 7 days. It's 13
Right.
as of the time
Oh,
of
okay.
recording. So
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. You got a week. You can do it.
Ooh-wee.
Ooh, week. Cool. I'm very excited for it. Super excited. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
playing probably through that on my Monday Night Brawlers show. But it's so robust and so big, I'll probably be playing it casually too. Like I'll probably start in
Yeah.
2 save files, I bet. So I tried
Definitely.
to do that with Zelda, but after a while I was like, I can't keep up both of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
but with this one, just the way it's structured, I feel like I'm going to be able to. So we'll see.
Nice.
Cool. Well, Final Fantasy X's Revenge Quest continues. And this sucks, man. I spent all week obsessively playing the game and maxing the stats for my my characters. I did 3 since there's like a party of 3. I maxed the stats for actually quite a few because I did some other stuff too, but at least for Yuna because she's the strongest character. And
Right.
then Tidus and Waka. Waka specifically, of course, attack reels overdrive because you do so many hits.
Yeah.
And I maxed attack, defense, magic defense, agility, and evasion, and accuracy, all to 255. And Waka and
Nice.
Yuna even have break HP limits, so they, instead of 9,999 HP, they got like over 20,000 each.
Yeah.
And Yuna even has ribbon, because I used my dark
Oh.
matter for her. Yeah. So, and I went and fought Dark Yojimbo, and the battle did take longer than just like a couple of hits, but I still got bodied. Because
Oh.
he kept dodging. Like
Oh,
even
yeah,
with my
okay, yeah.
accuracy all the way up, apparently I have to increase my luck too to increase my accuracy further. Otherwise,
Right.
I can't land a hit on him hardly. And unfortunately, I wasn't queued up with Yuna to summon right before he did his Zanmato, and I didn't know that his Zanmato, for and those who don't know, that's like the one hit kill type move that Odin usually uses.
Yeah.
But Yojimbo uses it. I had auto life on my characters. It negates auto life.
Dang.
So when he did it, it killed all of us just outright and removed auto life so we didn't get revived.
No, that sucks.
And I felt so dejected. I put the game down and I haven't picked it up since.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll
sorry.
probably come back to it. Yeah, I know. I just took so long. I don't understand why there are not just one, but multiple bosses, pretty much one for each summon in the game, that are this strong, that are in areas where you can accidentally bump into them, and they're in areas where they completely block off entire areas of the game until you defeat them. It just feels extremely unfair. Like the international version kind of sucks for that. Like I like it, you know, the monster arena is really cool because you go and you catch all the monsters or whatever, and then the guy creates new monsters off of that, and that's how you can get like late game equipment and secret items, but the monsters are tough, right? But you have to go to the monster arena and actually fight them there. You don't you're not like walking down the street and one pops out of the alley like, what, you thought you were going to go to your childhood home? Fuck you! And then kills you immediately.
Yeah, no, this is Bahamut's house.
Yeah, right? Like the optional bonus dungeon where Marlboro will, like, surprise ambushes you with bad breath and then you kill yourself because you're confused and berserk. That doesn't happen unless you go to the optional dungeon. So you can do a little preparation, get somebody with first strike and then summon or run away, whatever you want to do. But at least it's not, it's a little bit of a surprise, but it's a lesson that you learn pretty quickly in that dungeon. Whereas you just want to go back to Besaid, can't. You can't even enter the village. Not until you defeat Dark Valifor. It sucks.
Damn.
So I'm a little pissed about that. This is the most powerful. Like, I've never actually gone through the entire sphere grid with every single character before like I have here, and then went back in and filled in the sphere grid with more spheres in order to max out their stats. I've never done that on any version of the game. It's kind of neat to see, but the fact that doing that isn't even enough.
Then.
Yeah. And the thing with Dark Yojimbo specifically, other Aeons I think you have to beat once. Dark Yojimbo you have to beat like at least 5 times, possibly more. Because he'll zip around this cavern that he's in, and you have to keep defeating him until he like quits. Yeah. So, wish me luck, man.
Wish you could just pay him enough to quit.
Right? Yeah, like bribe him. I can't imagine it. Like, you usually in order for a successful bribe, you got to bribe. You have to give the enemy 10 times the amount of their HP and gil. Considering that you'd have to hit Yojimbo 17 times with a 99,999 attack, I don't know if there's enough money I could get. I think I'd hit my money cap before I could bribe him. So, but yeah, it's insane. Wish me luck with that. I love that game so
Yeah,
much that I
good
do
luck.
want to do it. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. So we'll see.
Right.
Monday Night Brawlers. I played Guardian Heroes. You heard of that game?
Guardian Heroes. Guardian Heroes. Sounds like a Saturn game.
It is a Sega Saturn game.
Okay. Okay. Yes. 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 I have.
Guardian Heroes was developed by Treasure, the same guys who did Gunstar Heroes and Stretch Panic and a bunch of other wild and crazy games.
Mhm.
And they did a port to Xbox Live Arcade a while back, and that's the version that I played on my old Xbox 360.
Oh, okay.
And I hadn't actually touched it before. It's really good. It plays
no
a lot
Saturn.
like Fatal Fury or Street Fighter, as far as like it's a brawler, but it has fighting moves. You know, your quarter circles, your
Right.
down forwards, your back down forward, and all that other stuff to do like extra
Mm-hmm.
moves. And you have 3 different attack buttons: light, medium, and heavy. And in order to
Okay.
jump, you have to press up, and you have a button that's like literally just a dash back, right?
Right.
And it's got a very robust story. Like there was a lot of cutscenes and dialogue, and there's a lot of like different decisions that you can make to get different endings. They have a morality system where like, you know, do you want to go the long way around or do you want to cut through the village and some innocent people might get hurt? That type of thing.
Cut through that
Yeah.
village, baby.
Yeah. And it has a lot of different game modes too. Like there's this arena mode where you can go and they just kind of pour in a bunch of different monsters from the game to attack you. Like it's insane. And you see how long you can last. And they have the story mode and different stuff like that and practice mode. And I tried pretty much all the modes and all the different characters that, you know, didn't need to be unlocked, so to speak. Yeah, there's one that looks just like Cloud, by the way. It's really weird. But yeah, I had a ton of fun with it. I would recommend it if anybody can stick their hands on it. I don't know if you can still buy it on Xbox Live Arcade.
Probably
be
not,
honest.
but if you have a Sega Saturn, you can get it, but you're going to be paying a little pretty penny for it.
Oh yeah, how much is Guardian Heroes going for? Is that what you're googling right now?
Yeah, I'm about to figure it out, but I think it's somewhere around 150.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Sega Saturn games. They're like, besides 32X games in the box or in the case, Sega Saturn is like the highest of the high.
Wow.
Guardian Heroes, Saturn.
Yeah, the
Oh,
console
shit.
itself didn't do well. Poor Sega, man. So many ill-fated consoles that were pretty decent in their time, but they were either bridging the gap between technology or they just didn't take hold or get a good audience, you know? Because Dreamcast isn't a bad system.
Right.
It's just,
It's anywhere from $150 to $250.
wow.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if they delisted it or not, but if you can find it on Xbox Live Arcade, I think it's worth it. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So
Dope.
I got it on sale a few weeks ago. I got that game called, I think it's pronounced Gray. It's spelled Gris, but people call it Gray. And
Gris.
it's one of those indie games. It's kind of like, oh, this is an allegory for depression, that type of thing. And oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Is this food for Daddy? Oh, you're the best, buddy. Thanks. Love you. Thank you. So, looks like they just brought me some food.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's kind of like an allegory for depression, and you know those can hit or miss. It definitely has a mood. Like when you first start your character, if you try to jump or press any other buttons besides walk forward, they'll just slump down like I can't, you know. And then eventually through gameplay, you get access to a color. Like you can now see red, whereas before everything's kind of muted and faded out. And it's
Right. Or gray.
you know, if you're in the mood for it, it's pretty fun. I played it for a couple of hours. I'll probably finish it, but it's like a before bed type game, you know, where you put the headphones on and
Right.
just kind of get into it. It's not going to be for everybody, but it goes on sale pretty often for like $6 or $7, and I'd recommend it. I had a good time with it, and I'm, you know, planning on playing more of it. So,
Dope.
Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. I have officially 100%ed that game. All the trophies, platinum, including the DLC. The last DLC was bugged. There was a mission that would not finish after I completed it in the third DLC. It was where you like save supplies that this soldier's going to take to Sokovia or whatever. And I looked online, a lot of other people were having trouble with it too. And I tried reloading it. I tried different save files. I tried doing different missions in a different order. I tried all kinds of different things. And then at one point when I finished the mission and I was swinging through the world and nothing was coming up and the mission wouldn't like I got experience points for it, but it just in the actual mission list, it won't say it says it's active. And none of the other icons come back up, you know?
Right.
And I'm just swinging through Manhattan dejectedly, just like, oh man, this sucks. And then it
Right.
finally like completed. It just took like a good 5
Randomly.
minutes. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, yay! Because that would have literally been like one trophy off from getting all of them, and that just it would sit right with me. So
Mhm.
Spider-Man, I mean, we talked about, I think you warned me that Marvel Spider-Man Remastered was reportedly bricking PS5s if people put the PS5 in sleep mode while that game is running.
Yeah.
If you recall that, I never did that. I always saved it and shut the game completely off before I put it in sleep mode. Because I was
Good.
like, I'm not even going to chance it.
I don't even use rest mode because it's almost like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's, I mean, because you get in the game a lot faster. You know, you don't have to
Well, yeah,
wait through
but
all the booting up
like,
and everything.
yeah,
And
but I
it
mean, I
charges
can
your
wait a few
controller.
more
I only
seconds.
have one PS5 controller.
Oh, I guess that's true. I charge my controllers on a separate charging dock, so
Oh, I see.
I don't think about that.
Yeah, for the longest time I've had more than one PS4 controller, so I just have a controller charging while I'm playing PS4, and then if I run out of batteries, I just switch the two, right? But
Hmm.
with PS5, I don't have that luxury right now because I haven't bought a second controller. So sometimes I'll leave it on sleep mode to charge the controller, and sometimes I know I'm definitely going to come back to it later that day, and so I'll put it in sleep mode and then just jump right back into the game a lot faster. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
literally within seconds. It
Yeah.
feels like back in the day when you popped a Genesis cartridge in, you know?
Yeah.
Remember that when you
Boop.
pop a game in and just start playing it?
It just started. Yes. No updates.
Remember
No nothing.
remember X-Men 2 Clone Wars where they didn't even give you a title screen. You just started the first level and then you got your
Right.
title screen
You're
after
in
the
there.
first level. You're in there.
Hmm.
All right, I'm going to try to eat some of this before it gets cold. Jesus Christ.
What is it?
It's 2 burritos and a thing of nachos.
Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Send one of those my way.
Send it over there to my way. Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna try to do what I can here. And if you hear a bunch of stuff coming through from me, just let me know. I'll stop and repeat what I have to say. I'm gonna try to do this quietly if I can, or cut the mic while you're
Okay.
talking so I can eat.
All right.
So I also, I've been playing Control lately. I talked about it a little bit last week. I platinumed Control this week.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm getting it in. I want to clarify something I said about the DLC. Remember last week how I said one of the DLCs was bad because it's just like monster closets and arena fights, and the other one was about Alan Wake?
Hmm.
That was actually a DLC called or AWE, or Altered World Event is how it's, in the game. That was the
Right.
same DLC. It's all in the same package.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
much
okay,
better.
cool.
That's much better.
Right.
And the second DLC is actually called The Foundation, and it's a completely different story in a different area of the oldest house. And they even give you new powers and stuff like that. And there's new enemies
Oh, that's
in that
cool.
one too. So the DLC in that game is solid across the board. I don't have anything
Dope.
bad to say about it. There's some really cool side missions that I really got into. The game overall is great. It's hard. It's really difficult. And I've heard some people who thought it was so hard they just quit playing it because it got really frustrating for them. I think you have to be very careful about how you level up your character, but luckily you can respec anytime and it doesn't cost that much to do it.
Okay.
And I think you need to get with the flow of using your service weapon, which is that gun that can switch to different gun modes, and maybe
Yeah.
your shield and your dodging and your telekinesis throwing objects around, right? And the other different
Right.
powers that you get. And you definitely want to stop and do the side quests because the only way that you can level up in that game is through ability points that you get from either completing main quests, completing side quests, or finding hidden areas. So exploration and taking your time to go through that game and actually doing the side quests and looking around and picking up items to catch the side quests, vitally important. If you try to rush through that game or you try to do just the main story, you're gonna get your ass kicked. And I think that's what a lot
Yeah.
of people are running into probably. So
Hmm.
that's my advice on Control. Let's see, 3 more games. I played a lot of games this week. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a video game podcast, folks. Let's talk about video games.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem, the NES version, Shadow Dragon, or whatever the fuck it's called. I bought it.
Yeah.
I said I was going to buy it. I bought it because I know it's going away on the 31st. It's a
Hmm.
good port, I mean, it's translated. You got bookmarks, save states, right? You can actually rewind turns if you fuck up. But it's still an
Good.
old ass NES strategy game. So, I mean, unless you're just going to Fire Emblem school because you're a huge fan, or
Right.
you actually played it back in the day, like a bootleg translated version, and you want to play it more legitly, I don't think it's a must for Fire Emblem fans. in order to get the most out of it. You already kind of know the story, or you can get it, like you said, on YouTube. That's what YouTube's for. But I'm glad I have it. It's a little piece of history that I might pick up and play occasionally, like I do when I, do like the Nintendo games I already have on there and stuff like that. Something you play for 5 minutes for funsies, that type of thing. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. Lost in Vivo. I'm almost done. I think this next episode of Friday Night Frights, this upcoming week for this Friday, I'm going to be finishing Lost in Vivo. It is so freaky and scary. Actually, my friend that recommended it popped on the stream last night, and he's like, I never actually played this. This is creepy. I'm like, I know, right? It's like an FPS Silent Hill. It's crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that and figuring things out and fighting the different monster types. It's very creative, and there's a lot of different elements of horror in that game. And, it's low graphics and pixelated. Feels like it could be a PS1 game almost, but in a good way. And I'm having a ton of fun with it. So highly recommend it.
Dope.
Cyber Shadow, my last episode was this week because I just got that's Super Mario 3D World. So Super Mario 3D World is going to be my mainstream game moving forward, but I got my third and fourth episode in of Cyber Shadow this week, that Yacht Club produced, Mechanical Head developed game. That's like Ninja Gaiden. It's good stuff. It's crazy hard. Oh my god. You want to watch me die over and over again and cry about it, go to my YouTube channel or go to Twitch, because I think all the episodes are still on Twitch. Watch me play Cyber Shadow for a bit if you like to see me suffer. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, man. That's all I got for games we play. What you got for gaming news? Because while you're talking about gaming news, I'm going to eat this burrito.
All right. Well, gaming news isn't going to last very long, so you better start chewing quickly. So we got
I'm chewing so quickly, I swear to God.
We got a release date trailer for Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. It will release on June 11th for the PlayStation 5, and I can't wait to get a PS5 so I can play Ratchet and Clank, because I love Ratchet and Clank. I love it, but I don't have a PS5. And I want one.
You said it was June 11th?
June 11th.
So excited!
Yeah, I feel like I should have one by June. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's one of those things. Like, it should be in my house by June. But it probably won't be. And that's okay. But
visualize
some other news.
And make it happen.
Right.
Make it better.
Speaking into existence.
That's right.
So, another thing, big news for PC players. The whole entire Kingdom Hearts series is heading to the Epic Games Store as an exclusive on March 30th.
Even Drop Distance, the Director's Cut, Yoshinoro Part 2, 250 / over 2 days.
Yep, I'm going to run through them. You're getting Kingdom Hearts 1,
Here
2,
we go.
3, Recoded, Rechain of Memories, 358 Days Over 2, Birth by Sleep, 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, and Dream Drop Distance. Like, there's so many of them. The only thing you're not getting are the mobile versions.
Are you getting
yes, Melody of Memory as well.
Cool.
Yep, you're getting Melody of Memory as well. So PC players will be able to experience the confusion, the love, and everything that is the Kingdom Hearts story, gameplay, and overall anime-ness.
The confusion, the love, the belts.
Right. So many belts, so many buckles.
Experience the belt buckles.
Mm-hmm.
Then whenever
I hear to enter your new sanctuary.
Whenever I hear Melody of Memory, I always think of Melodies of Life, I think it's called. It's the theme song from Final Fantasy IX. I don't particularly like that song, but it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah, speaking of theme songs from Final Fantasy, so Vicky was playing some sort of game where you, on her mobile phone, on her iPhone, Jesus Christ, mobile phone, you pour stuff out of a beaker into another beaker, and you have to get the colors matching. But for the ad for the game, it's literally to Xanarkand, the music playing. It's literally just like, how does it go again? Because I got Berserk music stuck in my head now. You know, the to Xanarkand, yeah. Exactly. Oh, man.
I love Berserk so much. Every time you say it, I'm just gonna. If you want me to just act like an idiot, just be like, "Hey, Mike, Berserk music." Oh!
Berserk music.
Anyways, I know what.
Yeah.
I know how Two Xanarkin goes, obviously, because I've been playing that game lately. But I want to continue eating, so I'm just gonna let you twist for a bit.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's a. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm just laying in the bed like, who the fuck is playing Final Fantasy X? And that's the crazy thing about music.
You're laying in the bed like, listen to my story.
Right.
This may be our last chance.
Right. This may be our last chance. His voice acting was so bad.
But also good. I miss early voice acting in games because, for those who don't know, Final Fantasy X was the very first Final Fantasy to be voice acted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was bad, but it was so good. But it was bad, but it was also good. I love Japanese people directing English people to speak. It's great.
Yeah. Tidus is the absolute worst voice of the group. But Waka with his, hey, brother, sin is our punishment for letting the Machina get out of hand, y'all.
Hey, brother.
Who are you?
You out of bed, eh? How come you didn't tell me that they were out of bed? Dirty out of bed. Stupid Machina.
Yeah.
Just a daily reminder that Waka was racist. If Waka worked for Disney, he would get fired.
Hell yeah. Quick. That's probably why he didn't get a main credit in Kingdom Hearts. He just got to be one of the kids. He just made him one of the kids.
Yeah, before he developed his prejudice. People
What about Waka? We can have him. We can have him in the Hercules stage, following around Sora. No, we're gonna pick Auron. Waka's racist. He can be on Destiny Islands.
I love that they made Auron a character like in the afterlife, like in the underworld. Cool. That was so thematically appropriate.
Yeah,
and I love me some Auron anyways. He's one of my favorite characters in that game.
Yeah, and that's why Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite game of all time. But
do you know there was a planned prequel for Final Fantasy X, so you could run through the world as Braska, Jack, and Auron? How cool would that have been?
Oh my god, I would love that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why they didn't go through with it, but maybe because they hate money. But
yeah, and who's to say we'll never get it? But we'll probably never get it.
We're getting further and further away from it for sure, because there's not many people that remember it like we do. But
bro. But yeah, man. So Kingdom Hearts headed to the Epic Games Store.
Cool.
And some more news. The Last of Us series has cast it's Joel and it's Ellie. And the results may shock you. Or you might just be like, okay. Or you may even say, that's not my Joel. But nobody cares because you have 2 whole games with Joel. Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian has been cast as Joel. And Bella Ramsey, who played Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, that was the young head of the Mormont clan, is going to be Ellie. Now, are you done eating your burrito?
Yeah, I'm on to nachos now.
Okay. Put the nachos down for a second and tell me what you think about this casting.
So, Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones was so cool. I love her. I love how she fucking killed that giant when he crushed her. She was like, fuck you. Yeah. She was so badass for this little girl, right? And I hope she can do a good American accent. I'm sure she can. Right. She's an actor, but I'm excited to see what she'll do. Pedro Pascal was in Game of Thrones too.
Yeah.
He was Oberyn Martell.
Oberyn, yep.
Yeah. He had his eyes gouged out by the mountain.
Yeah. And I saw that I was watching Double Toasted and they were like, why didn't they pick Jaime Lannister for Joel? And I was like, you know what? That actually, he actually probably would fit that very well.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal's hot right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's in everything. He's actually a great actor. But you're right. I wonder, Jaime Lannister actually wouldn't have been a bad Joel either.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, you're making Joel Latino? This is ridiculous. But you're lucky you're getting a Latino Joel and not a full-on black one, because rumor has it that HBO actually offered Mahershala Ali, who will be playing Blade in Marvel's upcoming Blade film, the role of Joel first. And he said no.
Yeah, he did. He's like, I know what gamers are like. I don't want that fucking smoke. Little racist-ass bastards.
And who's to say that he even knows what The Last of Us was? But I'm sure he looked it up if he didn't and was like, "Oh hell no!" You're not about to have my Twitter or my email lit up. Hell no.
Hell no. I don't need it.
And if they would have gone with Mahershala, I'd been like, that's dope. Yeah, but then I also would have been like, oh man, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, we have opinions on giving black people work in Hollywood. We are for it, 100%.
Right. It's like,
But
why would you make Joel black? First, you spoiler alert for The Last of Us 2. First, you kill him in The Last of Us 2, and then you make him black and effectively kill him again.
first, you make one of those transgenders kill him.
Right.
Yeah. Which, I mean, obviously Abby's not trans, but I've heard that as like a thing where people are like, woo woo. And it's just like, oh, God. Why are people so... I get it when you lambast somebody and go over the top with them not immediately getting on board with a new concept. Like, again, to bring up Gina Carano, when people had criticized her about not having her pronouns in her Twitter bio, because a lot of people were doing that, I think I eventually did it too. Not because I felt the pressure to, but because it's a way to support trans people who kind of need our support. You know, like, they're a targeted group. They're a marginalized group. People... They're just now kind of coming into their own and getting their rights sorted out, and people still murder them just for existing. Like, that's still a thing that happens in large parts of the world, including the U.S. So it's such a small thing for me to be like he, him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when she was confronted about it, she wrote beep boop bop in her Twitter profile. Yeah,
that's not funny.
Yeah. No, she thought it was cute. Though,
that's bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of the many things that she's done. But
she
just
said, I am a R2 unit.
Yeah, basically. And, I mean, it's all well and good. Like, people get on people's cases like, oh, it's just jokes. No one should be above being joked about. But it's just like, when you joke about someone who's being killed for merely existing the way that they exist, and you constantly mock them, it lends credence to people dehumanizing them. And when you dehumanize a group, it's easier to hurt them. Like, that's what it leads to. There's a path here. You know, I think Yoda said it best. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to being a douchebag on Twitter. I don't know exactly what the quote was, but you know what I'm saying. And she should have fucking known better. So that's all I got to say about that. But no, I'm actually excited. I think Pedro Pascal is a great actor. I love him in The Mandalorian. Even though Wonder Woman 84 was terrible, he was eating up the scenery in that movie and doing the best he could. He was like, it's good, but it could be better. Right. And I was like, yes, this movie could definitely be better, Pedro.
Right.
But no, I think he's great, and he actually has a lot of range. I could totally see him playing like an old grizzled Texan easily. Yeah, I think he can pull that off. I'm more worried if Bella Ramsey can really capture Ellie's spirit, because she starts off kind of meek and innocent, unsure of herself, and scared, and she only grows into kind of the badass that we see in the sequel over the course of, several hours of gameplay. So we'll have to see kind of what kind of range Bella's going to bring to the role as Ellie. That's what I'm curious to see. So
yeah, we also don't know the direction that they're going to go with these characters, so... I mean, we'll see. I honestly don't think we need a Last of Us show. I mean, a video game is like the highest point of storytelling and interactivity that you can have, in my opinion. So to then make it a series on HBO, it's like, well, I've already played this game for 40 plus hours and fell in love with these characters and felt their struggles and just went through their whole journey with them. And now I'm just about to go through it again, watching some other people and not interacting with it. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary, but I'm sure it'll do well and it'll be good, and hopefully we don't get the Game of Thrones treatment. The final season Game of Thrones treatment.
Right? Or final few seasons, really, but yeah.
Right,
Yeah, I'm going to treat it like an adaptation, like The Thing in the 60s and then the remake in the 80s. Or was The Thing in the 70s? I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, like you remake a movie, you either update it for modern times or you have a different spin on it.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't want a one-to-one translation of the game. Obviously, I do want them to take it and make it their own and kind of use the game as the backdrop and the inspiration. But as long as they kind of nail the tone, and like you said, it's not really needed. I think the video game kind of was the apex of that tone. But in a different medium, they can explore it in different ways. And if they do it, like you said, they do a good job with it and it's a great show, cool. I love a good show. And I'm already familiar with the material and I'm into the concept. I'm okay with that. We need to see what they do with big boss characters. So
right. I saw a YouTuber say, as soon as Abby shows up, I'm not watching it. I was like, okay.
I mean, yeah.
Chill out.
Be a big baby about it, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Who's going to play Abby, you think?
I don't know, man. I know the voice actor for Abby actually did a cosplay of her and really killed it, so she could honestly probably do it.
I'm like
You
chewing
ain't
on
done with them
nachos.
nachos yet?
No, sorry. I'm trying. I want to smash them real quick so I can just continue talking.
Yeah, do that, do that, do that. We are actually, I didn't think we were going to get this far into it,
Yeah, I know. I noticed.
time-wise, but hey,
Are you sure you're not enjoying the nachos? Because, I got a few bites left. I'm going to try to power through.
there you go. Do it.
Is this
I'm
doing
seeing
anything
a
for you?
picture. Oh, yeah. Mukbang.
Hmm.
I'm seeing a picture right now of someone that made a cake to look like an Amazon Prime box. Oh, that's so creative.
Leave
I
them on
was
their
like, why are
porch
they
so somebody
cutting
can
into
dig their
that
hands
box?
into it.
Right. I'm like, oh, God. This isn't a PS5.
There's this famous YouTuber. I can't remember his name, but he's successful because he's got like a lot of money and he got a lot of views and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But and people will clip his YouTube videos and put it on Facebook, steal it. You're huge and people are stealing your shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he designed these packages to explode in like stinky like fart gas and glitter when you open them, and he had cameras in so he could see it happen to the people and put them out on the
Yeah.
porches for people to pick up. I was like, that's fucking genius. It was a really cool, satisfying revenge style video.
Nice.
I have no sympathy for package stealers. Like
Right.
I mean, there are definitely lower things you can do, but not many. Holy crap.
Right.
All right. I'm almost done. I'm going to wash my mouth out here. So, yeah, I think Ronda Rousey might be able to play a good Abby. You
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, probably.
She
I
might
mean,
be
I don't
too old,
know.
though. But I don't know. She got baby
I've
face.
only
She stays
seen
in
her
shape.
in Fast and the Furious, and
I
she
saw
was
her in
like kind of
Expendables
okay.
3. She wasn't like a super great actor. But maybe, I mean, it was Expendables 3. It wasn't
Right.
Schindler's List. You know what I mean? Like, they're not demanding the best of their
Exactly.
people. So,
Mm-mm.
I don't know. Well, cool. Well, let's get on to the rest of the news here then. So, Bravely Default 2 is coming out. And this is less news, more than just kind of, our mutual interest. We were talking about it earlier, whether or not we're going to get it. Are you going to get it at launch? I think it drops, February 26th?
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna get it at launch. Myself, I haven't played the first game. I always was always on my radar, but now it's a little on the expensive side, and I literally never see it. So it's one of those harder to find 3DS games. But
Mm-hmm.
it always interests me. The new one has the same aesthetic as World of Final Fantasy, which kind of caught my eye. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
try out that final demo that they came out with and see if I like it. But
cool.
yeah, I mean, it's just a little cool, cutesy looking RPG, JRPG, and I'm always down for that.
I did play the first one. I loved it. It has a job system, like you said, a la Final Fantasy, and it's got this brave default system where you can gather points during battle that you can use to take extra turns or gift to others for taking extra turns, or you can use the points in a single turn to like buff up an attack or an
Hmm.
action. So it adds a lot of strategy, and it immediately just from jump has a fast forward button so you can speed up the battles.
Oh yeah,
So when you're doing some grinding and things are getting a little monotonous, you can speed it up, do it a lot faster, which is great.
very
Um,
nice.
the pacing was excellent because of that, and I found that I was able to get my characters in late game shape relatively quickly once I got to that point. It deals with time and time loops a little bit. I'm not going to spoil the story or anything here, but I will say that it gets a bit meta in a good way. And you almost have to figure some things out in order to break out of a particular cycle that it kind of locks you into. So it hints at things a little bit, but the turn it takes at the end, you're just like, yo! Like, it's really cool.
Mm, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like the ending is dope. So for those who can get a hold of it or have a good friend that will loan them the 3DS and the game, hint, hint,
Mm.
I recommend playing it. But again,
All
not gonna
right.
force you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I'm probably not gonna get it at launch either, but it's on my radar. It's something I want to play sometime this year. I love me. I think we both do. We love ourselves some JRPGs, even the turn-based ones. So
Yeah. This is going to be the year of JRPGs for me,
you think
honestly.
so?
Yeah. All that's coming out, I really feel like it's JRPGs, and I'm going to play them all. Try and play them all. Like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. That's probably going to be after Persona 5 Strikers if something else doesn't come out
Right. Yeah, I don't
after
have a
that. So
timeline in my head, but there are definitely games I know that I'm going to play this year. God of War Ragnarok, Ratchet and Clank,
oh yeah.
Resident
Hmm.
Evil Village, Persona 5 Strikers. Bravely Default. I'm trying to think of what else. Like, there's a lot of good stuff coming out. Ease 9, my copy comes out in the summer, I think, for Switch. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool. Well, the last thing on gaming news. So, we heard recently, a day or two ago, about some new trademarks surfacing from Nintendo. It's making the rounds within the community and in the news sites. Phantom Hourglass, Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, and Wind Waker are all getting 2021 trademarks. And a lot of people are speculating because this year is the 35th anniversary of Zelda, just like last year was the 35th of Mario. A lot of people are speculating we might get ourselves a Legend of Zelda 3D All-Star style game releasing pretty soon. And I'm all about it. If you got a 3D All-Stars HD re-release Zelda set, what would you want to be in it?
Well, I honestly have not played or beaten any Zeldas besides I've played a little bit of Breath of the Wild, and that's about it. But from what I hear, probably Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, and Twilight Princess would be the ones that I would want in that.
Okay.
that
Yeah,
realm.
I've played a few. I beat Wind Waker on the GameCube.
Oh yeah,
They have
Wind
that,
Waker. That's
yeah. They have the Wii U version I never got because I was thinking they're going to release it for Switch eventually. I know they are.
right. If they don't, they're stupid.
Yeah. I never played Phantom Hourglass or any of like the mobile ones aside from there was that one that came out for 3DS that was kind of like the SNES one. I can't remember what it was called though. Legend of Zelda
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. Thank you. I
Yep.
played like 3/4 of the way through that, but I had to return it to my friend I borrowed it from. And I went through Ocarina of Time way back in the day on the GameCube when I had that little collector's set.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see, just because I haven't played through them, like it would be great if Wind Waker was on it because I think that needs to be on it. But just for me personally, so I have access to play them again or finally finish them, I would want to see Link to the Past, Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess on a set. And, let's shoot the moon. Just add Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and Majora's Mask on there. Just make a
Right.
huge set, right? Or like a Volume 1, Volume 2 type thing. I don't know. But yeah, the ones I want to actually go back and try and play would be Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, and A Link to the Past. I think would be cool. So we'll see.
Yeah, they'll probably release all of them individually.
You think
That
so?
would make them so much money. Yes.
Yeah. They go, we're only going to sell these for 6 months, and then we're putting them back in the
Right.
vault. Fuck you.
We're only selling them for 30 days, baby. Get
I
out
hope they
there.
learn some lessons from the feedback of 3D All Stars and do a better job when they do the ports, though. Because 3D
Yeah.
All Stars was a bit underwhelming. I have to admit. It was cool that they
Yeah.
did it and then kind of announced it out of nowhere, but I was still kind of like, you know?
I played each game for just a few minutes and then I just kind of put it up. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I played a sizable amount of 64 and Sunshine, but mainly because me and Ben were hanging out. And Sunshine I actually really like. I'm gonna get into Galaxy proper pretty soon because I had them on Wii, Galaxy 1 and 2. But I just really Wii was one of those systems I got late in its life cycle and never really got a chance to sink my teeth into a lot of the games that I caught up with or bought. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Cool. Well, this week, Derrick, I just gotta know what you feeling.
I am feeling a YouTube channel by the name of RDC World 1. If you are at all interested in anime, nerddom, video games, anything, you've probably heard of them. It's a group of black YouTubers that basically do a bunch of skits about anime and video games and sports, and it's just all around very entertaining. I was telling you earlier, they can't act for shit, but that's part of their charm. And when you when you watch one of their videos, you'll be like, "Oh my god, this is bad, but it's actually really good." Uh, like they do this one series called Anime House, where they all budget cosplay as different anime characters, and they act like they're living in a house, kind of like a real world scenario.
Yeah.
And the latest one that just came out, Anime House 5, they actually released it, and within 24 hours, they did like 1.2 million views. Like, this is
Wow.
how they're very popular. So, to the point where they actually had LeBron retweet one of their videos, LeBron
That's cool.
James, because they did a video about One of these players going to another team and making a super team, and he's like, "What is going on? I'm 36. Quit passing me the ball." He just kept saying, "I'm 36" over and over again.
36.
Oh, and he retweeted it and said, "I'm 36." Cry laughing face. So it's really dope. But in the latest anime house, they have like the cartoon characters that don't get any respect because they want to be anime so bad. So like you got Aang and you got Robin from Teen Titans, Ben 10, Samurai Jack, basically all the really good American cartoons, and they break into the house and start fighting the anime characters because they're like, "We're tired of you treating us like shit. We're anime, damn it." So it's pretty cool,
That
man.
sounds like some
RDC World
Newgrounds
1.
type shit, but like in a good way.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And like I said, they can't act for shit, but it's very charming. So give them a like and subscribe. Smash that like button, baby.
Smash that like, smash that subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notifications.
Right. If you don't,
you can tell we never
catch
watched
any of our
videos
before at all. This video sponsored by Raycon earbuds and Raid Shadow Legends.
You're literally wearing Raycons right now, aren't you?
I know. Yeah. Raycons, baby.
Not sponsored. We're not.
We
sponsored.
love you, Ray J.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll have ads, and if we do, I hope you'll forgive us. Whatever we can to grow. But at this point, ain't nobody trying to advertise. The only people trying to advertise is our platform, but they're not trying to pay us anything. So I'm like, why would I interrupt my video for no money? I'm good.
Right.
Thanks, anyways. So, yeah.
But yeah, what are you feeling?
Oh boy. So I'm feeling something on YouTube too. I haven't been feeling a whole lot of new things lately. I can't wait until this pandemic is over because I feel like we're gonna go out and have proper lives again and get into things and learn things. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm in this holding pattern. You know what I mean? Just walk around my house and look outside and go, "Oh, we have a fence," and then walk around again.
That's cool.
But yeah, both of us are big fans of Video Game Donkey, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the more prolific video game YouTubers out there, Video Game Donkey. And his wife, Leahbee, has her own YouTube channel. She's got around like a little over 250,000 subscribers, so it's substantial. She got a decent amount of videos. Her stuff is more lifestyle stuff, and it's her just hanging out with Jason, aka Video Game Donkey, and doing silly shit like eating yummy nummies, which is those little cookable things that kids used to be able to make that they discontinued because they're gross.
Right.
Or doing like painting challenges, solving crossword puzzles, playing video games together, just doing husband and wife shit. And I mean, it's funny because they have really good chemistry together, and Leahbee is like a really sweet person. You've probably heard, if you watch Video Game Donkey videos, she's in them sometimes. She has a really high-pitched, cute voice.
Uh-huh.
And she like cracks up at everything he says. You can tell they have a decent relationship, but I don't know. It's feel good. It's kind of like a feel good channel. I like watching them hang out and laugh and goof off, and I've been getting really into it. So, cool. And my wife has actually broached me about us doing like a lifestyle channel too, like us just kind of doing stuff together and filming it. I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. What do you think? What if Vicky was into like, hey babe, let's record our interactions. Let's cook a cake and record it.
No, she legit is like she's like we could have our own show, we could have our own YouTube channel. I'm like, yeah. Probably. Yeah. Then I just move on.
I got the ultimate show. What we need to do is we need to get like a duplex, and then one of us lives on the bottom half and one of us lives on the top, and then we have a show where we it's like couples hanging out. So and then we're all doing shit together. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
And then we could talk about how weird it is that two of us are always into like one thing and the other two are the exact opposite. Like you and I are always doing inappropriate accents at ethnic restaurants, or me and Vicky's really into sushi and y'all rather order anything else off the menu. Just different shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
Good times.
Like speaking of, she ordered Indian food last night. I told her she'd get Indian food for Valentine's Day.
That was cool.
And because she's been waiting to get it forever, and it was just so gross.
No.
Like no, the marsala, the chicken marsala was really good. Like that's pretty much all I eat that they have. Yeah. Indian food wise, but everything else was and the naan. I love naan.
Naan's really good.
Bread. Yeah. But other than that, like the I forget what else was even in it. But I was like, how much was all this? She's like $60. I was like, God,
loud.
I was like, that's a lot to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Indian food's always really hit or miss with me. Like some of it's amazing. I love curry. And then some of
Mhm.
it's like, oh man, this is just all the ingredients in it sound good, but you put them together in such a way that makes them bad. How did you do that? I don't
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you on that. It's whenever they're like, let's go to an Indian buffet, and I'm like, well, I guess that's good because then half my plate will be tasty and the other half I'll just kind of leave there. So that'll work. I never know. I never remember what I don't like either. I just look at it all and go, I'll just try a little bit of everything and see what happens. So,
Hmm.
oh man, I totally feel you on that. All right. Well, speaking of feelings, it's been a long time. It's been weeks, and I feel weak. I feel like I need to get supercharged. I feel like I need to power up my levels to 9,000. It's time for the Derrick X Mike Anime Challenge! Woo! This week, after a long 2-week hiatus, because we had so many guests, what a blessing, by the way,
Yeah.
we are going to
it's
be
so
talking
cool.
about Berserk, episode 17, and Full Metal Alchemist, episodes 49 through 51. Derek, I just gotta know, Berserk episode 17, was it hype?
It was not hype.
Oh.
Because the battle with Shooter is over. We won! Griffith
We're
and
gonna
the
do some.
Hawks
Was it
destroyed them.
domestic?
It was domestic. The
So
violence was no. Right. No, it was.
Oh my god.
We gotta bleep that.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's pretty much just a downtime episode. The king is throwing this huge party for the Hawks Raiders. Well, for the Band of the Hawk.
Of course.
And the queen and the little minister are still plotting to poison Griffith. We haven't forgot about that little plot line. But basically, the main generals of the Hawks are in this party, and they're walking through, and all the girls are walking up to him like, tell us your war stories. And Griffith's like, my tales of war, as barbarous as they may be, I'm sure would do nothing but to bore you. And I'm like, Griffith, you're so fucking cool.
I know.
Like, what a way to say, leave me the fuck alone, right?
Yeah. But also leave them wanting more. Just like, oh,
right.
so gentlemanly. I need to know these stories.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
She's like, what do I
And
have
the
to
rest of
suck
them-
for you to tell me a story? That's all I need to know. Just point
the
to
tip
it.
of my sword.
Well, Griffith already, or Guts already does that, so.
Right. Oh god.
It's a little callback.
Yeah. They're all dressed up in these real fancy clothes and
Which is kind of
fancy
cool to
clothes.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, especially Guts. He looks like colonial era George Washington type dude.
I know, Guts looking
What he has
foppish. Just, I mean, he looks. It's about as uncomfortable as his face looks too, because he's like, I don't get me out of this crap.
Yeah, and he happens to look over and he sees the woman in a red dress, and he's like, "Who is that?" Oh, okay, okay.
Girl.
And then she pulls him away, and he's like, "Who the hell are you?" It's Casca in a dress,
Looking
and
good.
one of those like big dresses that they used to wear
Yeah,
back
the
in
big,
the
huge,
day.
frilly ones. Yeah, she was very pretty. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay, Casca, I see you out here wearing a
Cleaning up.
dress." He said, "I've never seen you in a dress before. Why would you wear this?" He said, "Men's clothing is easier to ride a horse in. I can't go into battle wearing this." So she's like, "I like to wear dresses, but I can't fight in a fucking dress, Guts. Jesus."
he's like, oh yeah, good point.
And yeah, and they actually go outside to kind of have a heart to heart, and then the the Berserk music starts playing. Guts theme starts playing.
Yeah, yeah.
And as soon as it came on, I was like, "Oh yeah."
You know, shit's about to get deep. A man that would be called my friend would be a man that doesn't follow me in my dreams, but follows his own dreams. That's a man that I would call equal. Thanks, Griffith. Thanks for kicking that
Right.
off. Now
And,
Guts is all
Guts-
existential and introspective and like, what am I doing with my life? Thanks, Griffith.
Yeah. And Casca's basically asking us, "Do you want to leave the Hawks raid? The Band of the Hawk?" And it's like,
Yeah.
why do you sound surprised? Like, you've talked about this like twice now.
Yeah,
But-
bonfire of dreams, baby.
Yeah, I digress. He actually, he is the ultimate cockblocker. He cockblocks himself. He's like, "You should go ask Griffith to dance with you." And it's like, dude, she's out here with you, man. She wants
I
to
mean,
dance with you.
think about it. Think
man.
what happens when he starts to care about someone or gets close to someone. They fuck him over, sometimes literally.
Yeah, yeah. So,
The boy is
let's
damaged.
see. Yeah, basically, they're outside because they don't want to hear the king give his little speech or whatever.
Yeah, they're both like,
But
whatever, man,
so
pomp and circumstance.
yeah, and some of the generals are actually commending the Hawks, and some of them are like, "Oh, this is bullshit. They're getting all
I
this
should have been the one
praise."
to
And,
win the battle. Brr.
right, and the king actually ends up appointing. Well, actually, not appointing, but the king ends up making all of the Hawks nobles.
Yeah.
He specifically
Makes Griffith
says,
a count,
"I
I
shall
think,
raise
right?
your peerage." Yeah, he
Peerage,
makes
yeah.
him the supreme leader of the Midland forces. So literally,
All
Griffith
the
is in
generals
charge of
become
the
nobles.
entire army of Midland,
Mm-hmm.
and it's some deep shit, man. I'm like, wow,
Nobleman
he
guts.
actually got to that place he was trying to get to. One day I will have my own kingdom.
Boom.
And Guts is like, "You did it, Griffith," and they're smiling at each other.
Yeah,
And Griffith
like-
actually has a genuine smile on his face.
Yeah, like he saw his friend achieve his dream. It's a nice thing, you know?
Yeah.
And now when he flirts with Charlotte, it won't be seen as scandal. I mean, unless it's by one of those people that are like, he wasn't born rich, though. Fuck him.
Right. Fuck that boy.
You're not supposed to earn it. You're supposed to just have it.
Right. You're supposed to be silver spooned, baby. Silver spooned.
You're supposed to marry your cousin. I didn't go around doing all this cousin fucking just to have some guy with skills come along and take the job that I don't have any skills for. Fuck him.
I had to fuck my cousin. If I just had to have skills, I want to fuck my cousin.
I'm good at ruling people. If I was good at governing, I wouldn't be banging half of my family reunion out here. Oh man, nobility is gross.
Yeah, it is. It's very disgusting. But then the waiters start passing out drinks, and of course we see somebody poison a drink, and he walks straight up to Griffith.
Oh shit.
And Griffith takes it, and Casca's like kind of rustling through the room trying to get to Griffith, and she's like, "Sir Griffith!" And he puts the cup up to his mouth, and looks like he takes a drink, and then he drops the glass and falls to the ground. Presumably been poisoned. Now, I don't think that he drank it because it didn't look like any of the liquid actually left the cup. And I think he was just kind of playing that, but we'll see on the next episode. So that's where it leaves off.
Oh shit.
Casca's like, "Griffith!"
Griffith.
And then it does that still animation or that still drawing of, yeah.
Wait, no, that's then it's the end credits. Don't find your fading in your grass. That's actually a pretty good song. I like the opener and the ending to the series. It doesn't change; it's the same one throughout. Have you had a chance to watch any of the bloopers yet?
Oh no, not yet. I want to save it for the end.
Okay.
Then I'll go back.
The bloopers are so good. They're so good. Especially Griffith's voice actor. You can tell he has like a theater background. He busts down into song all the time. It's really funny. Yeah.
I can't wait for you to see the Full Metal bloopers.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check those out. Where do you think I could find those? They're probably not on Netflix or the YouTube.
No, they're on YouTube, but literally don't watch them until you finish the series.
Yeah, because I can't tell where to cut off. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, we're almost done though. We're at episode 59, and how many episodes of Full Metal are there? Like
51, right?
Well, yeah, I just finished at 51. You're right.
Okay, 64 episodes.
Yeah,
we're almost there.
We're getting towards the end here. I don't know if it's going to be 13 weeks from now because we might have more guests, but who knows.
Right.
Let's get into it though. So, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 49, Filial Affection. So, if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, we're having a big old battle. We're having a hard time fighting Pride. He's got his light source again. Edward, Greed, Lanfon, all getting their asses kicked a little bit. He's assimilated gluttony and absorbed his sense of smell and his power. Alphonse intentionally allows himself to be captured by Pride by kind of rushing him while Pride is focused on Hohenheim. And then Hohenheim uses that distraction to use his considerable alchemy power to encase both Alphonse and Pride in a mountain of soil. Like he literally lifts shards of soil up and solidifies a circular ball around them. It's insane. And, Edward's like, "Why would you do that? Wah!" And then Hohenheim's like, "It was Alphonse's idea. Stop player hating." So basically,
Right.
they're in there in complete darkness, and they've completely negated Pride's powers. And I mean, Alphonse is in a suit of armor. He's a soul. He doesn't need to eat or go to the bathroom. He's good. It's fine. And they just really need to kind of hold him back for a day anyways. The promised day is upon us, if you recall.
Yeah.
You shoot over to Kimberly. He begins to move just as Scar's group is told about the bombing of Bradley's train. And the promised day begins. Greed goes to Central on his own while both Edward and Scar's groups meet up and devise a plan. And in Central, Mustang and his subordinates begin to attack the soldiers, and they still have Bradley's wife, which they use as a hostage. This is interesting. Brigadier General Clement is told that they have Bradley's wife as hostage, and he's like, so all we need is Mustang. Kill the rest. And so at the end of the episode, you see the army kind of surround them in this warehouse or this building. And they have I think Hawkeye has a gun to her head. He's obviously it's not going to shoot her, but they're using her as a hostage. And then the guy just gives the order. He's like, all we care about is Mustang, kill everybody else. And you can see Bradley's wife's face. She's like, oh shit. Like, word?
Right.
You're going to kill me. And that's the end of the episode. And I was like, oh no, I think they shoot out the outside of the building and you hear gunshots. And I'm like, oh damn, how are they going to get out of this one? Next episode, episode 50, Upheaval in Central. Immediately they shoot back to Mustang's small team. His team is in the rafters, some of his team, and they shoot all the guys that are getting ready to shoot them, get the drop on them, because they kind of knew what was going to go down. And now Bradley's wife has the proof that these soldiers are bad and that Bradley doesn't really care if she lives or dies. And they're like, hey, we're going to try to get you through this. Just remember that we were the ones trying to be loyal and save this country, when the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
So Mustang's team is cornered by the Central soldiers, and his old Ishvalan squadron arrives and saves him. And then meanwhile, the Briggs Fortress soldiers, led by Buccaneer, also join the battle. Now, Mustang and his crew are trying not to kill anybody. They're just wounding people, but not them Briggs Fortress soldiers. They are murking people left and right. I was like, damn, they don't give a fuck.
When they showed up and that dude grabbed dude by the mouth and just stabbed him in the neck.
I know, they cut away and you hear, I was like, oh.
Yeah. I was like, oh, them Briggs boys don't play.
He's going to breathe through a hole in his neck. So, anyways, then Mustang's team begins to run low on ammunition, and they are saved by Maria Ross and Rebecca Catalina with a truckload of weapons and ammunition. They just show up, and she's like, permission, or no, what did Ross say? She was like, coming back into service with or without your permission, or some shit like that. I don't know. It was cool. He was like, oh, glad to see you. So he calls to thank Ross's weapons supplier, and he's surprised to hear that it's Havoc on the other end, who, we just crippled and sent off. So he's helping out too. His whole crew, all the homies, coming back. At headquarters, Olivier kind of gets tired of the fact that she's hanging out with all these idiot Central military officers. She kind of antagonizes them. They're like, call off your soldiers. And she's like, well, you relieved me of command. Let me take over and I'll help. And they're like, whatever, we don't trust you. And then she stabs one guy, and then she turns around and then shoots Lieutenant General Gardner, like, right in the face. Just blow. I was like, whoa, she's making her move.
Mm-hmm.
During all that chaos, outside with the Mustang fighting the Central soldiers and what's going on inside the Capitol building, Edward's group actually sneaks back into Central via the tunnels underneath the third laboratory.
Yeah.
You got Edward, you got Scar, Darius, Jerzo, and Sapano, which are the three chimeras, and they all go in one direction at Hohenheim's suggestion, and then he heads in another with Lanfon. Hohenheim turns to Lanfon and is like, you want to look for the prince, don't you? Because we all know, like, Ling is inside Greed, and she's really keen on trying to find him, and she's like, are you sure you're going to be okay? And Hohenheim's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. I don't know if you noticed the shit I did earlier, but... my alchemy is strong. I'll be okay.
I got this.
Yeah, I got this. Everybody go this way. I'll go this way. So they split up too. And in frustration at the delay in stopping Mustang and ignoring the protests of a lab guy who's like, they haven't completed their trials, a member of the senior staff of Central awakens all the humanoid mannequin soldiers. He's just like, turn all the levers. Don't just test one. Just throw them all up. So all those weird mannequin soldiers underneath Central that were ready to be like their undead army or whatever get turned on and booted up. And then it shoots to episode 51 called The Immortal Legion for obvious reasons. The senior staff member orders the mannequin soldiers to attack the invading troops. And they all look really creepy. They all have like this one eyeball in the middle of their forehead. And they're like, Father, Daddy. And he's like, yes, I am your daddy. Now go attack the people, the bad guys or whatever. And then they like lick their chops. And I was like, this guy is fucked. And sure enough, like one just leaps and attacks, like bites him on his neck. And they just devour the shit out of him. Meanwhile, that lab guy just sitting there watching. Why is it whenever some effed up stuff happens that puts someone in peril, the person standing to the side watching in horror never goes, maybe I should leave or I'm going to be next?
Right. Nope.
Anyways.
They gotta be paralyzed with fear.
Yeah, they gotta be paralyzed with fear. And sure enough, the mindless soldiers eat him too. Edward opens the door where Alphonse had fought earlier against Lust underneath that laboratory. And the mannequin soldiers just bust out of it, eager to feed. So they start to surround Edward's group. And then you shoot back to Olivier, and she's attacked by Sloth while she's trying to fight her way out of the building. And he had been directly ordered to kill her. So they start to go at it. Alphonse and Heinkel, which is the Chimera that stayed behind because he was damaged in the fight against Pride, they learned too late that the whole time that Pride was in the big kind of cocoon made of dirt that Hohenheim made, he was using a stick to send a Morse code out to Father to like ping their location, which the whole time he was banging on Alphonse's helmet because it was just kind of like laying around. I knew that's exactly what was going on. I was like, why are you so stupid? Anybody rhythmically tapping like that? They try to stop him, but right as soon as they find out it's happening, Kimberly shows up and blows a hole in the side of the thing and frees Pride. And in the explosion, you know, Alphonse and Heinkel go flying. And then you shoot back to the sewers. May, you know, the stupid girl that was convinced by Envy to turn back around and take this dangerous homunculus back to Central. She's in the sewers trying to head down to where Father is, and she's attacked by those mannequin soldiers too, because they're, you know, spilling out everywhere. And in the scuffle, Envy is freed, and one of the soldiers, like, swallows him, and then he merges with them and uses all those bodies to return to his form. Like, just back at full strength, Envy is. Awesome. Kind of figured that would happen. Right. Then they shoot to Olivier. She's kind of struggling against Sloth. Her fighting style really just doesn't work against him. You know, you need, we as we've seen in the past, Sloth is a big dude. We need like big ballistic shells to go against this guy. Right. So Armstrong arrives at a pivotal moment when she's about to get her like chest crushed by Sloth and saves her, and uses like his, you know, kind of bombastic alchemy technique to fight Sloth back. They shoot to Alphonse, who transmutes his legs off in order to escape in a cloud of smoke and help Heinkel. And Heinkel pulls out a Philosopher's Stone, the one that he had picked up that Kimberly had dropped down that shaft when it was just him and Edward and the other Chimera. And he was like, look, I know that you know this is human souls, and I know that you would say you would never use this to restore your body, but all these people in here probably want to help, and I want you to use this to save the world. Promise me you will. And Alphonse is like, all right, I'll do it. And he reluctantly uses it, restores his legs, and prepares to fight Pride and Kimberly. He like comes out the smoke looking badass. I was like, oh shit! And then the episode ends. Pretty much.
Music starts playing.
So episode 52, what I'm most excited to see is a Philosopher's Stone powered Alphonse tear Pride and Kimberly a new one. We'll see if that actually happens.
It's really cool. That fight is really cool.
Yeah. So that's where we're at.
It's one of my favorites. All right. A lot of jumping around. A lot of fights happening.
Yes, all at the same time. Like everything's jumping off. So if you couldn't keep up, I completely understand. But why are you listening to this if you haven't seen the show? Go watch the show.
Right.
All right. Speaking of shows, ours is about to end. But before we sign off, those folks trying to figure out where they can get good deals on gamer goodies, also more, where can they find you at?
They can check out the eBay store at ebay.com/str/gamergoodies and more. I'm on Instagram at gamergoodiesmore, and you can follow me on Twitter at goodies_more, baby.
Awesome. And for the podcast, you can find us on facebook.com/player2 is enter the pod and follow and like us there for clips of the show, notifications when the show goes up, things like that. We also post up all our clips and full episodes on YouTube on a channel called Player 2 is Enter the Podcast if you'd like to find us there. And of course, we post up at our hub every single Sunday an episode just for you, the people, at anchor.fm/player2 is enter the pod. You can go there and listen, or listen wherever podcasts are available, like Breaker, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can email us at mcpaperstacks@gmail.com. Me personally, if you'd like to find me, I'm on Twitter at MikePetersonAL. I Twitch stream Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I do brawlers, horror games, and I'm going to be doing Super Mario 3D World pretty soon. So check my channel for the schedule. That's twitch.tv/mcpaperstacks. And I have a YouTube channel set aside for past streams in case they age out. So you can go to MC Paperstacks Plays on YouTube and check me out there as well. And that is our show.
All right. Thanks for listening. A little longer than normal episode, but we got it through it, and we thank y'all for being here. So
yeah,
appreciate
you.
We'll see
you
you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.